Welcome to the Lessi Quick Start Guide. This is for version 2.0.15. You can see how up to date this is by checking the version number over here on the left-hand side. All right, in this quick start, we're going to create a lesson, an assessment, communication to a parent, and store that information in our drive. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find an IEP I am working to align my instruction to. Now, from here, I'm going to say create a lesson on the Northern Lights aligned to the IEP. All right, so now this is the free-form chat object. Lessi will figure out what you need based on what you type into this box. The more information you provide, the better. If you know that you want to use a very specific tool or perform a specific job, then you can start with some of the pre-made tools. You can also build custom tools in a school or district account. Okay, so here's my simple prompt. Create a lesson, the Northern Lights aligned to the IEP. We have two modes, fast mode and thinking mode. For most jobs, fast mode is fine, but if you're not getting a high enough quality, then switch over to thinking mode. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you're going to get a higher quality response. In thinking mode, we have multiple AI agents that work together to produce a better result. All right, so let's see what we get. Okay, so it's picked up the IEP, and if for some reason it's not generating a response that looks promising, you can hit the stop button. But so far, it looks good. Okay, now it has created some content, and that's going to appear. All right, so now Lessi's given us a message. I will design an engaging, accessible, and inclusive lesson plan about the Northern Lights tailored for a kindergarten student with autism based on the details in the provided IEP. We can see the workflow, and we can see the content that was. So now let's take a look at the content that was created. Okay, so we have some learning objectives, and these are specific to Bruce's individual needs. We try to focus on materials that are commonly found in classrooms, activities that encourage interaction and engagement between students, sensory activities, and more authentic assessments of learning. Okay, so here are some instructional strategies and an explicit statement about how this lesson is aligned to the IEP goals. So this lesson aligns to Bruce's IEP goals because it's helping to build expressive and receptive language skills, aligned to the goals to answer WH questions and follow directions. It also targets fine motor and tracing skills, employs visual schedules, and so on. This gives some examples on how to conduct an assessment. Now, before we move on, I'm going to take a look at what else I can do with this document once I've created it. Okay, so it comes out, it's pretty plainly formatted, but if we want to add a little bit of life to this document, then we can click on the Edit button. When I go into Edit, I have a full design palette that I can work with. Now, before I start working with it, I'm going to need to save the document to my drive. So let's save it, and it's given us a name. Right, so now let's actually create a new folder. In this folder, I'm going to do BB as initials for this student who I'm building customized instruction for. Let's create. And I choose the folder, and I'm going to save all the contents here in this folder. So now that I have a folder, right, this folder will be accessible in my drive, but I can keep working and adding more content to this folder from here. So now I can do the AI design. Now from here, I can go in and make changes to the design on my own. I could highlight and so on. But what I'm going to do first is use the AI designer. So if I click on design, these are some default designs. All right, so let's give this document a little bit of life. It's a lesson plan, so we don't need to put too much into it. Let's go ahead and choose the modern design and hit apply design, and we'll see what we get. Okay, here is our designed document. And now this will be saved in our folder that we just created. Now from here, I could export the document as a PDF to my Google Drive or send it over to my personal Microsoft OneDrive or export it as a document. But now I'm going to close this out and I'm going to return to my conversation. So I can see here's my designed document saved for me. I can minimize the document and I open it back up and I can see my designed document. Okay. All right, so now we have a lesson plan. Let's go ahead and we're going to create one more object for this unit. Okay, so now from the chat, you can actually access any of the other tools. All right, so from here, let's create a communication. This is going to be for parents. We could choose the language. Here I'm going to use English. We can choose the tone. Here we'll say friendly. Additional notes, and we'll say how to extend learning at home. And the author, who is sending this, okay, this is Mr. Marcotte. All right. So now it's going to use all of the context that's part of this conversation. That's going to be whatever documents have been included, whatever lesson plans, whatever content you've created in this conversation is going to serve as context for the next object. Okay, so now here is my parent letter. Okay, now if I'd like to save this to my drive, I can go ahead, open this document up. I could design it just like I did the lesson plan. I could have also made some changes. This is a little bit long, so maybe I'd make this a little bit easier to read. Let's go ahead and save it to my folder. I could do a magic design. I could make design changes on my own in here. I'm going to close it out. And I can see my document now tied to exactly what we created. Okay, so that's it for this quick start. There's a lot more that Lessi can do, but this hopefully will help you get started using Lessi.